I've just come back from Japan. I have bought many art supplies and I cannot wait to share it all with you today. So this is definitely my biggest art haul yet. I was obviously in the home of Holbein, very excited to be in Japan, and I definitely made the most of it. This is my final haul of 2026 because I am heading into a no-buy, which feels funny to say considering I have so much, but this is definitely going to keep me well stocked for the next couple of years, and I can't wait to show you everything. I'll be swatching as we go, I'll be doing individual videos as well, so let's get into it. So if you saw last week's video, you'll have seen some of the stores that I visited, a little look into the art supply stores in Japan, which are incredible. I felt so lucky to be there, and yes, I definitely made the most of it. Now, I will caveat this, that although this is my biggest art supply haul ever, and my art hauls do really well on YouTube, I am also very aware of overconsumption and influence of telling you what to buy. So I definitely went into this trip knowing what I was going to buy. I have been saving for this trip for well over a year, knowing that I was going to Japan, and the prices out there are so cheap. Certainly in comparison to here in the UK with all the import fees and everything. So bear that in mind. I haven't bought just for the sake of it. I'm really careful with what I buy. I went with a list. I went with a pretty big wish list, but I knew exactly what I wanted to get. And that was really helpful for me to not get overwhelmed and to know that I've bought things that I will use. So I do just want to caveat this video. I hope that makes sense. I do like to be intentional with my purchases, and like I said, this will be used. Okay, so with that out of the way, let me start because there is so much on this desk. I'm really excited to share it with you, as well as some of the books, the pens, the stationery, and of course the paint. Okay, so we're going to start with the first art store that I visited, which was in Osaka. I did visit Sasabe, which I know a couple of you in the YouTube comments have mentioned to me and has been recommended by some of my patrons too. So Sasabe, it's near Dotonbori, which you'll probably visit if you are a tourist in Osaka anyway. It's one of those famous streets. And it's not massive. It's pretty small compared to Sekaido, which we'll get onto later. It's only 2 floors, but it's very charming. It feels very local. I loved it. I preferred the buying experience there than I did in Sekaido. I'll put some shots on the screen, but if you want to see a proper tour, then that will be in last week's video. So we'll start with some acrylic gouache. So these are from Amsterdam, all acrylics. So this is actually a Royal Talens brand. You know I love their sketchbooks. This is from the same brand. This is called Amsterdam. And I have never seen acrylic gouache like this except in Japan. So I've shared these before and people always, don't you mean acrylic paint? But no, this is acrylic gouache, and they had so many tubes, so many different colours of this gouache. And I love how big it is. So there's plenty in here. I picked up these 3, so whitey blue, whitey yellow, whitey magenta, and I also picked up these white. So I tend to use acrylic paint when I want to use white, so I actually picked up some acrylic gouache, and these were all really reasonably priced. Okay, so I do have receipts. These were 385 yen each, so about £1.81, which is incredible. So for this amount of acrylic gouache, I think that's really good. The 2 times white were 695 yen, so £3.28. So let's swatch these out. I'm going to clear a space on my desk. Okay, so first up we've got Whitey Blue 134. These are 70ml tubes. I think this is going to be a really lovely sky colour. I know I'll get a lot of use out of this. It's a really nice warm blue, the kind that I prefer for my skies. And if you don't know about acrylic gouache, I do have a video about it. Not about the Amsterdam ones, but about the Holbein one. So I'll leave that linked in the cards as well if you're interested. They are like acrylic paint, but they're very matte. They also had much brighter colours as well, but I really like these pastel shades, so the whitey colours. There were plenty more as well, huge array, more than I've seen before. So next up is whitey yellow, number 131. So very soft. This is a really nice neutral. I use these a lot for my bases as well when I want a warm base to work on top of. So yeah, really nice neutral colour there. It's like a very subtle butter yellow. And then we have whitey magenta 136. So these do feel nice and thick. I think I can get a really nice opacity with them, and then also when I add on the water I can wash it out a little bit. I can share more thoughts on an in-depth review of anything today if you want on my channel, just let me know in the comments. But I really like these colours. I think they're nice together as well. Perhaps a whitey green would be nice too, but these are the ones that I picked up. I'm not going to swatch the whites because it won't show up on the paper, but I do really like these. Okay, the other thing that I picked up there, which was on the stairs as I was going up in a little bargain bin, is this. So this is a Turner acrylic gouache. I did pick up a few other colours in another shop, but I haven't ever tried Turner before, and I know a lot of you recommend it. So I picked this one up. This is Navel Orange, a colour I wouldn't normally use, but as I said, it was in a bargain bin, and this was 170 yen, which is 80p. So I thought I'd pick it up. It could make a really nice base layer. I do like orange as my base to add that warmth, or I can use it as a mixing colour. So I'm going to swatch this next to these ones, but this one is Turner. Oh, that's actually really nice orange. It looks a bit more neon on the packaging, but I think that would be really nice, maybe paired with a slightly softer yellow. I can definitely see myself using that as a background. So just using this a little bit more like gouache there, where I've added more water. That's really nice. Obviously I'll do some more proper testing with the Turner acrylic gouache, but for swatching that felt really lovely. Oh, I will mention this as well. This was in a 100 yen store, but obviously 330 yen. I think this was in Daiso or Seria possibly, but I thought this would be really, really cute. It's very shiny and glossy for me to put my paints on when I'm mixing. I do love my paper palettes, so maybe this is too cute to put paint on, but I thought this was adorable, this little onigiri plate. But I also saw this other little bargain bin for these Ecoline brush pens. So I got the pastel set. I have used Ecoline brush pens before. I really, really like them. They're very, very juicy. I do have a video comparing them to Tombows as well, which you might have noticed over here from another art store. But these were 675 yen, so only £3.18, which for 5 pens I think is really, really good. So I'm going to swatch these out. These are the Japanese version. I know you can get them elsewhere really easily. They're made in Germany. But for the price, I think that was really worth it. Okay, so we've got 666. This is pastel green. Oh, that's quite nice actually. That is quite soft. Very, very spring-like green. Usually I prefer my greens a little bit more yellow tone, so a bit warmer. And then we have 580 pastel blue. That is a lovely colour. It's a little bit more cool than the whitey blue above, but again, perfect for skies. That's really lovely. Really like that one. Next up is pastel violet 579. I don't think I've got this one. I haven't bought the pastel set before. Oh, that's really nice. It's more pinky leaning, I'd say. That's lovely. Then we have pastel rose 390. A really nice soft pink. Probably not quite as soft as the packaging, but I do like this one. Okay, and then lastly, we've got 738. This one is Cold Grey Light. This is probably my most used Ecoline brush pen. I use this one all the time. It's a really lovely pale grey. Yeah, I think I do use that a lot for building, so I'm happy to have another one in my collection. Okay, so also in Sasabe, I bought some paper. I haven't ever heard of this brand before. I believe it is Japanese. Pretty certain it's not 100% cotton, but it was only 704 yen for 20 sheets, which makes it £3.32. I really like the size of this. I'm very impressed I managed to keep it nice and flat in my suitcase. But yeah, it's kind of off-white. It looks like ivory toned paper. I have no idea how this will perform, but for that price I thought I'd pick it up. And it looks nice and smooth, so they did have loads of different types, but I prefer not to use rough or cold pressed paper, so I went smooth. Yeah, 230 GSM, I'm really excited to test this one out. Okay, so the other bits that I picked up in Sasabe was some Holbein Gouache. Now, as I said, Holbein is definitely a Japanese brand. There is actually their factory in Osaka. I bought these Iridori gouache sets. Now, I did plan on my wish list to only get the spring and summer, but when I saw the price, I decided to get all 4. So this one I knew I definitely wanted. This one is spring. I'm not going to swatch these in this video. I'm going to do a whole video swatching all 4 of these sets, but let me take them out their packaging. So you get 12 tubes in these. This is the Iridori spring set of 12 colours. And they look absolutely gorgeous. I mean, even the packaging is wonderful, but look at that. Isn't that palette amazing? I'm so excited to swatch these out. I did buy another spring and autumn set, so I did buy 2 lots of these because I'm going to split them up and give them to my art retreat participants in their goodie bags. So they're going to have a goodie bag of art supplies when they come with me to France in June. So I did buy extra to give to them. I just can't wait to use these. These are so my kind of colours. So these sets, these Iridori sets, The price was incredible, especially compared to what I would pay here. So I did find them on Jackson's Art before I left, just to try and compare. So on Jackson's, they are £56 each. So £56 for these sets. And in Japan, they were 4,050 yen. So only £19 and 6p. It's such a huge saving, better than half price. I was expecting the prices to be around half. I obviously usually use GBP and yen is quite weak, so that definitely worked out in my favour, especially when I was buying the currency. But honestly, so chuffed with this. 12 tubes in here works out about £1.60 per tube, so a tiny bit more than buying them individually, which we'll come on to in a second. But it just helped with like decision fatigue. I already know when I looked up the palette before I would really love it, and I'm just so excited to have more Holbein Gouache in my collection. I bought some last year and I fell in love with it, so I'm really excited to have these in my collection now and to be able to play and use them. Yeah, I would say it's definitely my most used medium. So I'm just going to quickly share these, but as I said, I will do a whole video. So this one is Summer. So we've got slightly brighter pops here, a very bright green there. I think these are less me than the other one, so I wasn't planning on getting this. But as I said, for all four for that price, I couldn't pass it up. This one is the winter set. So we've got these much darker tones here, but some really nice browns, quite a lot of browns. I think this will be really nice to supplement some of the others. And then last but not least, another one that I actually went in for, this one is Autumn. This one is also really nice. So this has the greens that I'm really excited to try out, some more browns, and then yeah, just some really nice shades here. Now there are some colours in here that I bought individually as well that I think I'll get a lot of use out of, that were recommended to me. So there will be some doubles up for the ones that I bought individually, but like I said, I am stocking up and I will use all of these colours. I love using gouache, so you'll probably see me painting more with it. I had a few requests and comments actually about doing a video about gouache, so if you have any questions, let me know. But these are also from that shop, so I bought some individual tubes. They very kindly put them in these boxes for easy travel. Didn't have any accidents on the way home, which I was very pleased with. And I will swatch these ones. So we've got Ash Green, Jaune Brilliant No. 2, a white. So I generally always use Winsor & Newton gouache, but I use a Pebeo large amount of white. I thought I would test this one out just because of the price, and if I'm going plein air, it might be more helpful to take a smaller tube than that really big one. I generally do use it for mixing. A Smalt Blue, this is the one that I already have. Absolutely love that blue. It was in my favourites video. Ash Blue and Brilliant Pink. That's a little bit of a wild card for me, but I'm excited to swatch that one. And then we have Amber Cork Yellow. That one I did just swat in the autumn set, but that was recommended to me by someone, as was this one, Rikyu Grey. And lastly, Jaune Brilliant No. 1. But yeah, this is everything that I bought in Sasube. Really impressed with the prices there. It is cheaper than Sekaido, so if you are in Osaka, definitely recommend heading there. They didn't have everything. I didn't actually see Holbein Acrylic Gouache there. I'm sure they did have it, but I only saw the Royal Talens Amsterdam brand. No doubt they do, but because it is only 2 floors, then obviously we're limited with space. But they certainly crammed it in, as you'll have seen in the video last week. So let's quickly swatch these out. This is going to be such a mega long video. I hope you're strapped in and ready for it. Okay, so this is Ash Green G555. Oh, I like that. I usually go for much warmer greens, as I've mentioned, but that will be lovely for a nice like pine forest. Definitely going to use that a lot. There's definitely some white in there, some white pigment. Next I'll do Ash Blue G574. Yes, a very sort of grey navy blue. I think that would be a lovely shadow tone. It's definitely grey blue. I think there is a touch of warm there. It's not super cool. Then we have Jaune Brilliant No. 1. This looks like a very pale pastel sort of orange. Oh, that's really nice. That will make a lovely base layer. That's very pretty. So that's G530. And then I'm going to do Jaune Brilliant No. 2, G531. This one's No. 2. Oh yeah, okay, so that is definitely way more orange. I wouldn't call this yellow at all. I would call this an orange. I'm not very, au fait with my colour names, so perhaps that's accurate. But that one's definitely darker. It reminds me a bit of navel orange, a bit more yellow toned. I'm not going to swatch the white, so we'll move straight on to Brilliant Pink, G510. So I did go in with a plan, but I also was open to just picking out colours that really spoke to me. And this one definitely did. I think that is lovely. That's a really nice, it's kind of a cool pink, but I think that one will be really, really pretty for some cherry blossom, plum blossom. I think that's a really lovely pink, and that one is brilliant pink. Next up is Smalt Blue, which I love to mix with white. As I said, I mentioned this in my favourites video. It's a really nice warm blue, kind of purple leaning. I love this colour, so definitely one of my favourites, and definitely one I wanted another tube of. Really nice and strong, but as I said, you can mix it with white and dilute it a little bit just to soften it a bit more. Next up is Rikyu Grey, G882. This is like a very, very warm grey. It's kind of green leaning even. This is definitely not a cool toned grey. I think that's really interesting. I think that would be interesting to mix with as well, like to mix with other colours. Could do a whole colour chart on that one. And then the last one I've got from this little section is Amur Cork Yellow G825. It kind of looks like a dirty yellow. Oh yeah, okay, interesting. So this is, again, kind of green leaning. That reminds me a lot of Chinese green from the Nia colour that I love. I don't have any paints like that, so that one's going to be really interesting to use. I think it would be beautiful to mix other greens with. So yeah, excited to use that one. Okay, we are slowly getting things off the desk, but I'm going to take a break from the swatching now because I've got some other bits up here to share with you from Traveller's Factory and Tokyo Hands, and then we'll get on to the Sekaido portion, so some more of the paints at the end. Okay, so I did make my own sketchbooks to take with me to Japan. I filmed the process for this one and also the art supplies that I packed in a video over on my Patreon. But I made them this size because I wanted to get a Traveller's Factory cover whilst out there. So I really like the Traveller's Factory store in Kyoto, so when we went to Kyoto I made sure to visit there. They don't have a huge amount of stock, and we'll come on to that. But I really wanted to get sort of a holder for these sketchbooks, and I deliberately chose small just to try and keep things manageable. I'm hoping to do a sketchbook tour of these soon. So this is what I picked up. It came in this box. I'm going to use this band as an extra one in here, but this is the one I got. So this is actually in blue. I swapped out the band that it came with this yellow one because I really like the contrast. I wasn't planning on getting the blue, but it was all they had left, and I still really like it. I much prefer it with this yellow band as well. But this just keeps things nice and safe for my sketchbook, so I did buy this maybe on the 4th day, I think it was, and then put my sketchbooks in there just to keep them nice and safe in my bag. Obviously you can see I still need to fill out some of the pages, but I did try and draw from life during that trip. And yeah, it fit in perfectly, so I was really chuffed with that. My measurements were correct, and I just really like Traveller's Factory brand, and I'm excited to have this. So I do already have a Traveller's Factory cover in the larger size, but I want you to get the passport size just to keep things manageable, and I feel like that would be really good for, you know, you can swap in and out the notebooks, which is what it's all about. So maybe I'll do some in future trips. So talking of, I bought a few refills, so these are notebook refills. Again, much cheaper out there in Japan. It is a Japanese company. So I got this sweet one with this lovely design. I also got this one, which is watercolour paper. I didn't want to buy this whilst out there to then use, because I already knew I wouldn't go to Kyoto until like the 4th day and I wanted to draw in the run-up. So I did get this. It is perforated pages, which I'm not sure how I feel about, but it's good to give it a test. I also got some sticker release paper. It's more of a journal thing, so I thought that would be really helpful to put the stickers on and then you can easily peel them off. And then this one, which I saw Inda from Rookie Journals use. She's currently on a trip to Australia and I really love the colour. So the paper is this colour inside. I think it'll be really fun and interesting to work on top of with art. So I'm really trying to combine my art with journaling this year, and I think these will be perfect for that. Okay, so let's just finish up with these. This is the size I usually use, so I tend to do my Japan journaling and all my kind of travel journaling, so from New York and other places I've been to, in this size. But I did want to go really manageable for this trip, but I still picked up an insert, so this lovely one with this design I haven't had before, and then this, which is a clear folder just to put things in. Again, really liked the design here, and yeah, had to pick that up. So I also picked up this. This was in Daiso, some pale colour paper. There are 32 sheets in here, and I think it would be really nice to paste into my journals. So I did actually bind these with some coloured paper here, and it's actually very, very thick. So this was from my Jackson's art haul, but this is much thinner, so I think this will work better. But again, some really nice colours. Pink, yellow, blue and brown, and then it cycles through. So I think that will be fun to work on top of. and yeah, just playful in some of my sketchbooks. So that's everything from Traveller's Factory. Let's move on to Tokyo Hands. So I did buy a nib holder for something I'm going to come on to in a minute. This has a really nice grip at the end, so that will be interesting to test out. I obviously got some pens, so I really like this pen, this Pilot. I don't know what it says, I'm sorry, but I've had this before and I really like it. I use that when I write little notes and things for orders. I bought this, so Tombow is actually manufactured in Japan. It's also manufactured in Vietnam and Thailand, I believe. But it does mean there's a lot of Tombow products out there, which I didn't realise until this trip, that they also have their headquarters there. So I did pick up these. They sell them in 7-Elevens as well, which is wild that they've got stationery in just their convenies. But I have heard great things about the mono plastic eraser, and I have used this one before and I really liked it. So pick those up as well. Oh, this was from Daiso. I'm hoping this will fit my Nia colours actually. I thought it was a really nice size. I do plan on doing a lot of plein air work this summer. So let's just grab some and see. Oh, perfect. Yeah, they're definitely going to fit in there. So I can take a few out with me, keep them nice and secure. So that's great. That was 100 yen, so very, very cheap. Okay, I also picked up this brush. I was really intrigued by this. I didn't buy any other brushes. I do feel like I'm set with brushes, but I really like the look of this one. It feels like one of those traditional ones, but I think that will be really interesting energy in my brush strokes, so I'm excited to give that one a go. And then some art brushes. So I got these Pentel ones. I will swatch these out, so I'll get my sketchbook out in a second. I do have a couple of these. They're way more expensive here than they are obviously in Japan. I don't have the receipt for these, so I will put it on the screen. But I'm pretty sure they're like £7 here in the art stores. So much cheaper out there. I do already have an olive, which I really enjoy using. So I also picked up a grey, a brown and a dark brown. So let's swatch these out. They even open better than other pens. So it's got this perforation here. So you just pull there and can pull it out instead of having to peel off the plastic. I feel like Japan are ahead in so many ways with stuff like that. So much easier to just pull out there. They do have a bristle nib. I'm just going to have to sort of pump through the ink to fill up these brush pens to be able to use them. You do that by taking off these red rings. So these are the protectors just to keep them safe during travel. So you just need to take these off and then squeeze the ink down. Okay, so first up we've got this grey. That's a kind of a dark to mid-tone grey. I really like some of the texture you can get from those bristles though. Then we have pale brown. Oh, that's lovely. I really like that colour. That would be nice for trees and things. I do want to use these for just taking out and about with me for day-to-day stuff as well. And then we have one that's just sepia for this one. It's not called brown. This one looks much darker. Ooh, nice. Okay, yeah. So it leans more black, I'd say. It is definitely a brown. I think this will be good for smudging as well. You can see big difference there, very, very dark tone. Again, I think that'll be good for like dry brushing effects for bark. So that one's sepia. I would say that's definitely a dark brown. Okay, yeah, really excited about using those and kind of just using them on their own as well rather than with mixed media. I think that will be interesting to play with the line work. Everything's being moved aside, so that desk is looking a mess. This one's looking a lot better. So let me show you this one. So this is the Pilot Kakuno, but this is the Madarome pen. I got this in fine. It's got a tiny smiley face on the nib, which you can see there. It's so cute. I picked up this colourway. I think that's really pretty. I was planning, it was on my list to get a Pilot Kakuno, and someone in my Instagram DMs recommended this Madarome, so I did pick this one up. I'm going to use this for my journaling. I still do my daily morning pages. I didn't on holiday, but I'm back to it now I am home. And yeah, I think this one will be really fun to use. It does come with a few cartridges. I'm not going to be using this for art, so I don't need it to be waterproof, but this will just be really nice to write with, I think. Okay, I also got, this is from Hands, some Uniball 1 pens. They're so cute and diddy, like these colours. I've had one of these before in the past, really lovely to write with, really, really nice. They still have their protectors on, but these are really lovely pens, so I picked up a couple more. I didn't go too wild with the stationery. But of course I picked up some stickers and washi tape. So I do have this lovely little brown package filled with stickers and goodies. So I'm just going to flip through these. Very, very cute. Everything's so kawaii out there. Everything's got a mascot. I love these food ones. Really, really nice. Some nature ones, which I'm going to stick onto when I did the hike in Osaka up to Minnow Falls. Just some really pretty ones. I just love to decorate my journals with these. I would like to start adding them into my art as well. So like I said, combining my journaling with my art. So some very, very cute stickers there. Obviously this is mostly art supplies, so I'm not spending a huge amount of time on those. And I do have some washi tapes as well, which is in a little pencil case I bought out there as well. So the pencil case was from Daiso for 100 yen, and you can see some of my lovely tapes in here. This one was from Ghibli Park, which was a really wonderful day. And yeah, some other ones, some were from Itoya. I also went to Itoya, which you'll have seen in last week's video. And just some generic ones as well from MT. But I really like using washi tape. I'm not showing everything I bought. I also bought clothes from Uniqlo. I bought some gachapon, loads of gachapon and little trinkets and things, some pottery, and obviously gifts. So this isn't a completely comprehensive haul. But something else I bought in Tokyo Hands, I call it Tokyo Hands, it's called just Hands now, were these Zig clean colour wheel brush pens. These were 1,452 yen, so about £7, so very, very reasonable. I only bought this set. I do have a good collection of Zig brush pens thanks to my friend Omar Win, who gave me hers. So just some pastel colours here. They're the ones I use the most. So let's give these a swatch and I'll show you which ones come in Portrait Colours 1. First up we've got number 302 Haze Blue. Yeah, really nice soft blue. Then we have Vanilla 073. That one barely shows up. That's really reminds me of the whitey yellow above, a little bit more peachy toned. Next up is Light Beige 074. I might have this one already, but I do think that the light colours are the ones I use the most, so more sort of neutral tones. I feel like that's what I'm missing in some of my other brush pens, so it's nice to have these. Then Pale Pink number 028. Oh, that's really lovely. Really like that one. A bit darker than the others. Pale Orange number 054. Oh, not very pale. I'd say that's kind of a mid-tone orange, or kind of an apricot, I'd say. Last one, Pink Haze number 201. Oh yeah, that's more like a cool tone pink. Yeah, I think I'll get a lot of use out of these. Really lovely colours. I like that palette. Okay, I'm hoping my battery is gonna last, but let me show you something I'm very, very excited about, and was a big sort of question mark on whether I would buy one, but I decided to go for it, and that is I went to Kakimori in Tokyo, and I bought a nib holder and a nib. So I have seen other artists use these. I wasn't ever sure whether to get one. They're very expensive here, but I decided to buy one in Japan, and I did go for the brass metal nib. Did quite a lot of research before I left, and the store experience was amazing. I didn't spend a huge amount of time there, was with my brother-in-law and my sister. But if you do have more time and plan ahead, you can also customize your very own sketchbook. So you can literally choose everything from the cover to the pages inside. Again, I've shared that in last week's video, which is a bumper kind of video for some of the art stores there. Highly recommend it. Stuff were really nice. It was pretty busy, so obviously very popular. And yeah, here is my nib. So I'm going to do a whole video using my Kakimori nib for the first time. But if you've never seen these before, they have these sort of indents all the way around which holds ink, so it holds ink for a really long time, and then depending on the angle that you use it, you can get different effects, so thin and thick lines. I really like the effects that I've seen other illustrators create with these, and I did buy myself a nib holder as well. This was a little bit of a splurge because I know I could just get much cheaper ones, but I really wanted to get one there. Really lovely colour, it feels very special, and then this just goes in the top here like this. Like I said, I will do a full video using this for the first time, but I can't wait to try it out. And then I did pick this up, like I said, just to test it out if I wanted a shorter one, because this one is longer, as you can see. They did also have short ones at Kakimori, but I can't wait to test that out. I do want to play around with my line work, so I think that will be really, really fun, and I'm going to give it a good test, and yeah, I'll share my thoughts in the future video. Oh, I do also have this sweet little clip, which again was from Daiso, so very, very cheap. Again, to hold my pages, so I tend to use these Penco clamps. I didn't see many of those, but I just picked this up. It's really helpful just to keep your pages from flying around in the wind, so pick that cute bunny one up. And now let's move on to Sekaido, which is where I did buy a lot and made the most damage in my wallet, but got some really exciting things. So I did buy quite a lot of Holbein Acrylic Gouache. Again, I'm just going to slide this on over. So we've got this. I did buy some traditional gouache as well. Obviously, as I said, it was a little bit cheaper in the store in Osaka, but you know when you buy stuff and then you wish you'd bought others? Luckily, I was going to Sekaido. So Sekaido is a 6-story art store in Tokyo. It's in Shinjuku. It's really close to Shinjuku Gyoen National Garden, which I shared in last week's video where I did some painting. It's a little bit overwhelming. It's very, very busy. So there are 6 floors. The top floor is the art school, but all the other floors are like stationery and art supplies. You've got frames on a couple of the floors, paper, canvases. Literally, if you want anything, it will be in Sekaido. They generally have 20% off from retail price. I thought they were really good. Obviously, compared to the prices here in the UK, they are still amazing. And again, I will share the prices. So I did pick up some Tombow brush pens. These colours are ones I've definitely used before, so I'm not going to swatch these. I'm pretty sure most of these ones were in my favourites video. We've got 491, my favourite blue, 942, my favourite beige, 126, my favourite olive green, 076, another really nice, more olivey green, and then 312, which is a really nice cool green, as well as 992, which is a slightly darker beige, and then this one, which I think is new. This one's 772. I just thought it was a really nice pink. I'm not going to swatch these out. I'm going to move on to the paints, but I really like Tombow brush pens. They're really reasonably priced out there, which is why I picked some up. So again, I'll put that on screen on the prices for these. So it's nice to see that and top up some of my pens. Okay, let's start with the postcards. Like I said, they do have a whole section on the bottom floor for stationery. So I picked up this lovely one. This one is Yellow Flowers by Yusuke Yonezu. Probably butchering that, so I apologise. I just thought it was really nice. I really like picking up postcards for, you know, art prints and also as gifts. And then this one, which is of the Sakura, so really nice. Love this softness here with this texture here. That one is by Norito Saimaru. So those were the postcards. And now on to the paints. Okay, so yeah, some more acrylic gouache. I did get the 40mm tubes here. So a couple of these I've had before. These are like my most used colours, which you'll have seen again in my favourites video, so I will link that. All of these are ones that I use and love a lot. I will swatch these though. We've got Misty Blue, Misty Green, Naples Yellow, Shell Pink and Coral Red. And then the new colours I got was Beige, a white, again I think that's really helpful to have, Navy Blue and Pale Pink. So these are all in the 40mm tubes. They retail at 649 yen, but with the 20% off in Sekaido, they were 520 yen, which makes them £2.45 for these 40mm tubes, which is such good value, because here in the UK, they're about £7 each. So way less than half price, £2.45 for these. Couldn't pass that up. I thought that was really good. That was a really good price. I also did buy some small ones, so 20mm version of the Ash Yellow. Oh, and some more Turner acrylic gouache. So let's swatch the Holbein acrylic gouache first. I do have some Holbein acrylic gouache sets already, so I decided to just pick and choose my favourite colours rather than getting a multi-set for these. I do find that I'll use these colours more often than getting a multi-set, which might have, you know, really bright colours that I don't tend to use, versus these ones, which I know I will use because they're the kind of colours I usually paint with. Okay, first up we've got Misty Green, D774. Really nice green, that. I love that one. I think that will be used a lot, and again I can mix in a bit more yellow or darken it up with some of my other greens. D801 Misty Blue. You can see what kind of blues I love. I really like this soft blue. A little bit more grey tone than some of the other blues, like that whitey blue from the very beginning, but I'll definitely get a lot of use out of this one. Okay, then D740 Naples Yellow. This is a colour that I bought last time on my honeymoon a couple of years ago. I use this all the time, so definitely wanted to get another one of these. Really lovely butter yellow. Same for D711 Shell Pink. Again, really nice soft pastel pink with a lot of warm tone. D710 Coral Red. I use this a lot for backgrounds. So really bright, bold backgrounds that I can then work on top of. Done that quite a lot recently. Again, I'm not going to swatch the white, but that is titanium white that I've got. I'm going to skip onto the beige, which is D743. This is a new colour for me. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's really nice. I think that will get a lot of use. That's a really nice neutral. Nice and warm toned again. You can definitely tell I love my warm colours. This one's a bit cooler though. This one is D798 Navy Blue. You can see I haven't got many dark tones, but this one definitely is. I probably will use this for night skies. It's definitely darker on the packaging than it is swatching out actually, and you can definitely lighten it up quite a lot with the water. Then we have D713 Pale Pink, so back to my pale colours. Really like this. I think that actually would be a really nice pairing with that navy blue. I think that's a really nice colour combo that I could use together. So lovely soft pink there. And lastly we've got D156 Ash Yellow. So I've got a couple of ash colours in the traditional gouache, but this is in the acrylic gouache. Oh, and that's nice. That could be a nice neutral. Very soft sort of brown, warm sort of light coloured brown. That would be really nice for sand and rocks. Okay, so that's it for the Holbein acrylic gouache. So I'm going to move back and fill in this row here for the Turner acrylic gouache. Like I said, I haven't tested these out before, but I have heard good things, but mostly about the Japanesque range. So this is slightly different from that orange. I just picked out 3 random ones just to test them out. I mean, I might fall in love with them. I'm not heading back to Japan anytime soon, but I really like these colours. I think they'd be a really nice colour palette on their own. We've got J Pale Lilac, J Olive Green, and J Light Green. So let's give these a swatch too. Okay, we'll go with the Pale Lilac first. It feels very, very wet and watery. That's interesting. Definitely not as thick as the other ones. That's a very lovely shade though. Then we've got slightly darker ones. So this is olive green. Like I said, I use a lot of olive greens. Let's see if this one is as watery. I don't know, maybe I've just got a very wet brush, but it definitely feels a lot wetter. That's a very nice olive green though. I like to use base greens and then add yellows and blues to them rather than mixing up my own greens. I know some people see that as lazy, I see it as convenient. The last Japanesque one I've got is light green. That's nice. Yeah, I definitely think these are thinner. These feel very, very wet coming out of the tube. But that's a lovely colour. That might be my favourite colour yet. That's really nice. And like I said, I think this would make a really nice trio of colours in a little trio colour palette. Okay, so that is the Acrylic Gouache Turner Acrylic Gouache Japanesque range. Definitely seems really thin and watery, but I will look forward to testing that out. Now I do have 2 more packets of gouache from Sekaido, so let's give these a swatch too. We have got Naples Yellow, so this is traditional gouache, not acrylic gouache, and Moss Green. Another smalt blue, I did know I picked up 2 of those. Olive green and pale coral. I won't re-swatch the smalt blue, we've already seen that, but let's carry on over here. So first up we've got G553 Moss Green. Oh, that is like my kind of green. I do also have Elm Green, which is a really nice one. Slightly more yellow toned that I have in my collection, but that is lovely, really nice. So really happy with that one, that one's Moss Green. Then we have Olive Green G546. So I haven't tried this in the Holbein Gouache, so let's give this one a go. Oh yeah, okay. That to me isn't olive green at all. It's a very nice green, but the moss green feels more olive green than that. But that is lovely. I definitely will get a lot of use out of that one. I think that's really nice. You can just kind of see how much fresher that is as a green. So it's still really nice to have in a collection. I don't think I want to use, you know, these more browny toned greens all the time. I think having a mix is a really nice way to make your landscape feel more natural. Then we have Naples Yellow G528. So this is a lovely colour. It's interesting how different Naples Yellow are between the brands. Even actually the acrylic gouache is slightly different to this one, which is the Holbein traditional gouache, but I really like that one. It's definitely more buttery yellow than it looks on the packaging. And then lastly we've got Pale Coral G812. Oh yeah, that's lovely. That's more like the sort of shell pink, which is the acrylic gouache above, but I would say that's slightly more orange toned than the shell pink. I guess that's why it's called Pale Coral. Really like that one. So that's the Holbein Gouache all swatched out, but I also got some other paints, which I'm going to do a whole video about, which is these. So these are Nika poster colours. Now Smita from my Patreon recommended these. These are what is used by animation studios in Japan, including Studio Ghibli. So they create using these paints. So I was really excited to give these a go. I love the idea. So they are made in Japan. They did have tubes. I decided to go with the jars. So 40ml jars in here. maybe I would have been better with the tubes, but I just love the aesthetic of these. I think they look really, really nice. I am excited to test these out. Now, these are very bright colours compared to what I would usually use, but I want to try and do maybe a master study of a Ghibli still or something. And yeah, I'm excited to give these a go, but this will be a whole other video where I'll swatch it out and do that sort of master study. I bought this in Sekaido. I didn't see it in Sasabe. And they did also have individual colours, but I was pretty overwhelmed at that point. Sekaido is a big, big shop, so it was helpful to have my list, and I just decided to get the 12 set. Here in the UK, I couldn't find them at all except for on Choosing Keeping, where they sell the 24 colour poster paint set for £150. Now, this is obviously only the 12 set, so half price, so maybe about £75, but this was just £22.67, so really good value for this amount of paint. And like I said, I'm excited to do some mixing. They're very bright, but I'm excited to give them a go, so keep your eye out for that video. I think that will be a fun one. Oh, there is one more that I haven't swatched. I said I was done, but I'm not. This is such a long video. I've been filming for an hour and a half. Goodness knows how long this will take to edit, but I did also buy a colour that is very different for me, but is a very fun Sekaido collaboration. So this is another Turner Acrylic Gouache. This is Sekaido Green, so you can see here it matches their logo, but because it is a Sekaido exclusive, I decided to pick one up. I'm very excited to give this a go. This was 330 yen, so about £1.56. So let's give this a swatch. Let's get that back out. We've got one more swatch to go. And then I've got some books, and then I promise we'll be done. Wow, that is so bright. Yeah, that's definitely not my usual green, like I said, but I think that would be nice mixed with white, mixed with other colours. Again, I think I could play around with that. Obviously had to get that because it was an exclusive Sekaido, and yeah, very, very neon compared to usual. Could be fun to just try something different. You know, sometimes it's nice to go out of your comfort zone. So that one is Sekaido Green, another Turner Acrylic Gouache. It's looking a little bit more turquoise on camera, so I'll take a shot that's a little bit more accurate. Okay, so finally, let me share some books that I bought whilst out there. I don't have the receipts for these, so I can't tell you how much I paid, but I bought this one from Tsutaya in Osaka. This is called 100 Years of Life. This is a beautiful, really, really nice. The bookstore was lovely as it is, but I really like this one. No, I don't read Japanese. Mitch can read a lot more than I can, but I think this is just a beautiful book just for the art, even if I can't understand it. So there's some really gorgeous traditional art in here. I love the textures, the play. It reminded me a lot of the Drawing from Life month that we are doing on Patreon. You know, picking up leaves and drawing those. Okay, so finally, let me share some books that I bought whilst out there. Just book, as soon as I flipped through it, I knew it had to be mine. I just like some of the layouts, very graphic in style. But again, you can see that texture from the traditional materials. There's a lot more people in here, which is something I'd need to practice. But yeah, aeroplane scenes, just some really nice art in here. So definitely a must-have for me. This one, I would like to say who it's by, but it is in Japanese, so I will put that on screen. This was 1,600 yen actually, it says it here, so about £8. So very, very reasonable for this size of a book. I also picked up a second-hand book in a book off, which was 500 yen, so about £2.50. Again, I don't know what this is called. I'll translate it and put it on screen. But this just looks so very sweet, and I had to get this one. Look at that, that's so cute. This lovely little bear character in lots of different poses. Just, again, with that texture of watercolour or the traditional media that they've used. I really like that. Some of the layouts are really interesting as well. I do want to play more with narrative, and this definitely feels inspiring for that. So inspiring to me, so hopefully you enjoyed seeing that too. And then very finally, I picked this one up in Witches Stacks, which is a bookstore in the Valley of Witches in Ghibli Park. And this is quite a chunky book, but again, I fell in love with it. It was a bit more pricey at 2,800 yen, so about £14, but I think this would be like £30 here in the UK. And I couldn't get it in the UK, I expect, because it is Japanese. But there is so much in here. Very playful again. You've got some line drawings in some of these, but also full pages. It's so charming. I just love the expressions, the way that they've drawn. Here's some of the line drawings of the flowers. I think this is like a gardening book. It's got a lot of information here, but obviously I'm just really inspired by this style. This is inspiring me to use, you know, my Kakimori nib, to use more line work, but it's just very, very charming. I'm going to get a lot of inspiration from this. I was excited to be able to share it here as well and do a little flip through. But yeah, it's just so lovely. I don't need to understand the text to get the charm and joy out of this book. Some nasturtiums there. Maybe it's through the seasons. This definitely feels a bit more autumnal with the colours. Very mischievous cats. Just a very charming book. I had to have it. I couldn't leave it in the shop. So there we go. Let me organise my desk a little bit and we'll do an outro. Okay, I haven't organised it, I've just put it on shop, but I hope you enjoyed this haul. Very, very long, I hope you don't mind. This is my final art haul of 2026 and I definitely made the most of it. I'm so excited to use all of these supplies. I've got so many ideas for videos. If there's anything that you want to see in more depth, do let me know in the comments. I always welcome your feedback. And I'm just so chuffed with the prices that I paid. Obviously I did go with a budget that I've been saving up for this trip, but the amount I would have paid for all of this here in the UK would have been absolutely astronomical. So very, very chuffed, and like I said at the beginning, these will all get a lot of use. So a huge thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I can't wait to chat with you there, and hopefully I've inspired you with some colours or some supplies too. I'm now officially going on my no-buy year, so no more art supplies for the rest of 2026, and I will see you next Sunday in my new YouTube video. Hope you have a creative week, and I'll see you later.